she's using it for, yeah. She said, all the tuition paid for, and then extra jobs at the school year.
We painted today. Painted the inside
2 years ago, when
of
they had several different options and several different.
the French doors.
Oh, yeah.
And then we painted the inside and the outside of the
I cleaned mine out.
inside door. As you come in, because it was burgundy. I said, that door's got to go. I never liked the color. I've lived with it for 19 years. So I painted it.
When we were ready to go, we changed. Like in my house, our last house in Alexandria, there was this one piece of molding in the bathroom that got redone that never got put on right. You know when it got put on right? When we sold it.
Well, when I started to do the renovations and then I retired, I said, I'm selling my house.
There are other buildings.
And I'm just about there. Because I've got all my packing out. All except for what I am using.
What you use now, yeah.
Everything else is off-site.
But you actually moved to storage.
Storage.
you.
It's got stuff out of sight, out of mind. And the garage, Glenn,
Will you put it up before Christmas?
hopefully it's going to go up this week.
Oh, good.
And I'm not asking. 150,000. It's a good.
Okay, I guess we'll call our meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Yarb. It's a new one.
That's
Here.
a long list.
Spencer,
Here.
Larson,
Here.
Barham,
John's not here.
Here.
Edwards,
Here.
and Day.
Here.
I don't have an agenda, so
Right
do
here,
you have an agenda?
right here.
I can share with you.
We're good. I got it. There's a lot of meetings going on today here, so.
Yeah. So I guess it's citizens' time. Is there anybody out there who wants to make a comment outside of COA presentations or anything? Okay, that means we can move on. We got minute approval. We got 2 minutes to approve.
I make a motion to approve the Architectural Review Board minutes from Wednesday, July 16th and Wednesday, September 17th.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Okay, are one of those ones that we passed by because some of us could not vote on them? So if you sandwich them together, I still can't vote on them?
You can vote on them. You can abstain or you can vote on them. Just because you weren't here doesn't mean that you can't vote on them.
No, that's,
Yeah.
No.
but I would have to check the procedures on that. I would just assume we did them one at a
Yeah, let's
time.
do them one at a time.
I withdraw my motion. Who seconded?
I did.
Withdraw.
Withdraw.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of Wednesday, July 16th, 2014 for the Architectural Review Board.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Was that the one? Which one were we at? After I did all that.
Got a point of question or anything, or?
I missed this one.
Last month.
Nobody was here last month.
Right, 3 months before.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Okay, you good? Okay, we'll place it up for vote then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
I abstain.
Abstain?
I wasn't on the board at that time.
I make a motion to approve the Architectural Review Board minutes of Wednesday, September 17th, 2014.
Second?
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Up for discussion. Any comments? Okay, let's put it to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstains? Okay, let's move forward.
I make a motion to approve zoning permit ZP 2014-0725 at 14812 Cypress Park Lane.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, I got the
Second.
motion and a second. It's up for discussion. Okay, I don't have any comments. Anybody have any comments?
Well, it was approved by the HOA, right?
Or Sean?
Yes, it was. There's documentation to that effect.
No, I mean, you approved it.
I'm sorry, yes, I approved it.
And that's to add the railing on. So I don't have any other.
That was it. Okay. I guess we'll put it up for a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays? Any abstains? That's an easy approval for
Already
Park
built.
Lane. Yeah.
What you can do about it.
I make a motion to approve zoning permit ZP 2014-124 at 6648 Hunting Path Road for a deck.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. It's up for discussion. Any discussion?
It was just an extension of the deck that's already there,
Yes.
And a resurfacing.
right? Same colors.
Okay, it doesn't look like there's any questions then. I'll put it up for vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any opposed? Abstains? Okay, looks like that one passes as well.
I make a motion to approve zoning permit application ZPZ 014-1027, Sherwood Forest, Gotham Manor Place for a fence.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. It's up for discussion.
It's my understanding they're tearing down the existing and replacing.
Yes.
Marshall, do we need to make oh, it says 4 feet on here, okay.
Yeah, the owners are here if you have any questions.
Okay.
Yep, follows what the zoning guidelines.
Yep. Anybody?
Anybody? Okay, so up for vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Got another one that passes quickly. Thanks
was
for the
painless.
documentation. Good documentation
All
is
these
always why
packets are
why it
good.
happens.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. They're all good tonight, so far.
I make a motion to approve zoning permit ZP 2014-11006.
Thank you for coming too, by the way.
Yes, thank you very much.
Second.
We're getting a little too efficient.
Not really
This is for 15020 Washington Street. It's a sign.
the Washington Street.
Now I second.
Okay.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. It's up for discussion. I'd
Is
like,
anyone here for this?
yeah, I'd
There
like
she
to,
is.
I'd like to get both you and Marchant's interpretations of what you really want to do and the discussions you guys have had on it.
Certainly. Want to come sit with me? Want to ride
won't make you
shotgun?
stand.
Need a wingman?
Wing woman.
Wing woman, excuse me. It was supposed to be a non-gendered term. Wing person. There's a large banner outside. We've gotten a lot of questions about. What we've done is worked with owners that are wishing to propose signs or go through signs. They did apply for a permit for that sign. The idea when it was allowed was that with a white background, it would blend into the building and not be as imposing. Didn't quite achieve that. And also, too, was to give an idea about the 12-inch letter signs, or 12-inch letter signs that we allow. The Washington Street Realty has gone through several iterations of this proposal. In this case, wanting to do the individual letter sign, the suggestion was made to mount it against a clear plexiglass. The idea would be to not have to affix each individual letter to the building, and there's also 6-inch siding planks on it, which would make it somewhat difficult to orient those things. So the suggestion was made to go ahead and affix that to plexiglass. There was a similar sign that was proposed that went through review and was approved. The council at the time ultimately, as the landlord, did not feel it was appropriate. This is a little bit different application, but it would be the effect of 12-inch letters affixed on a clear plexiglass to the side of the building. And as individual letters, it does meet the zoning ordinance.
Do we don't have any material, like sample of a material, what?
We don't have a sample of the material. The representation on packet page 53, it shows that it does have it on the red background versus the clear plexiglass background, which we tried.
Can't really,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it would just be the effect of having the red lettering appear to be affixed without the burden of additional coloring behind it. So it would be the minimal impact beyond the letters themselves, which was the idea.
I guess my only reservation is when you say a plexiglass letter that you can see through the letter.
No, I'm sorry.
No,
It's
it's
a
pretty-
red vinyl letter
Okay.
affixed to a clear plexiglass.
sign. Okay.
Correct. And
And that's just to eliminate the mechanical securing it to the, having
Right.
four posts for each letter.
Plus, it's a historic building, so you don't want to damage
what
it.
you've seen a lot of individual letters in town. In those situations, it's a flat surface. It's brick. It's stone. It's easy to fix these. A little more complicated with the board size, and also just it's a longer name. Washington Street Realty is a longer name, and with the boards too, you would probably get some effect of the lettering if it was all individual letters that were trying to be applied to the side. So this was what we worked with Washington Street Realty to meet the ordinance standard, but also, like she said, be de minimis on the effect on the building.
There are types of acrylic that are more weather resistant than others, including polycarbonate. Sometimes acrylic can weather and turn brittle and white and out in the weather. So maybe a particular type of acrylic, they make them. They're not that much more expensive.
Certainly, thank you. In the interest of maintaining the integrity of the visual for all purposes, but also to not have to redo the sign. We're looking for the highest quality and most appropriate, as you suggest, which is, of course, very wise. Yep, agreed.
How will it be
Also-
attached?
I'm sorry. We also require a maintenance. So if it was to begin to fall apart, we would have the ability to have them maintain it. Obviously, we won't go that route.
Yeah,
So.
obviously, it would be in our interest as well to do that. We would
Right.
certainly feel compelled to do that. How would it be attached, Chris?
No, that's we'd have to. Hi, thank you. Sorry about that. I'd have to get with the sign company. This is a sign company that I've been using since the mid '90s for things such as this, and I'd have to see exactly how we were doing it. Marshawn, did you explain the difference between the individual and so yeah?
I think we would defer to what's acceptable as an attachment protocol, and I think Marshawn would work with us on that too.
The assumption was on the larger Washington Street, 2 bolts either ends. Yep. 2 bolts in the center, and that would be enough to. For the Washington Street, I would imagine 6 bolts, and the street and Realty probably get 4 and 4.
The least amount of visual impact.
I guess my concern is this is one of our historical buildings. And should you happen to vacate the building, the signs, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
If you need a bigger space.
yeah. But for some reason that you would vacate this building, then you've got holes up there in that siding that maybe the next tenant would not want would not use, and you've got holes in that wood.
You're going to have holes no matter what sign you put
Well,
in.
I know.
I mean, you can't stop someone from advertising their business.
The whole purpose of going to the plexiglass was to
Eliminate.
To eliminate
minimize
some.
that you have.
I understand, but I still have this concern that
Right.
I wouldn't want to see bolt holes. I'm not sure what size bolt you're talking about. You may not even know either at this point, but I'm just looking down the road that I wouldn't want to see the building with holes.
I mean, there's terms in their lease, I imagine, that speak to, they're allowed to have signs and how those signs are done. You could recommend that it be the most de minimis, method of affixing it. The preferred is not to have,
Visual impact.
3/4 inch, 2 foot long lag bolts sticking out the side of the building. I'm not diminishing your concern.
Right.
But you have the ability to, if you want to, say as de minimis or as unimposing as possible.
There is one other option, just to throw it out there, that you could use standoffs to adhere, to put in there and use glass, actual glass. And you, of course, you'd be able to see through it. You wouldn't have the white acrylic, it might be a little more aesthetic. But you would still have the same amount of bolt holes. You wouldn't get away from that. You'd still have to use bolts to go into the side of the building. But the standoffs would allow for a piece of glass or acrylic, if that's what you still want to use. But the glass would be more durable, it would last longer, it would look better.
But this plexiglass is see-through, correct?
Yes, it is.
And that's,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
what I think we would want anyways, just to see the ridge of the boards.
If you're using clear acrylic and you're using the bolt to put it up there, it's really eventually going to look bad behind there. You're going to have dirt, and if you ever see a window fog up, is because the moisture got behind there, it evaporated, but then it got behind there and over the years, it's called small. It just builds up behind there. So eventually, the acrylic's going to turn white, and it's going to look bad behind there.
I'm sorry, at one point we had discussed, because we were with the sign company kicking around a myriad of ideas for practicality purposes, doability, safety ongoing, and we had talked about glass. The concern being this is a large enough piece that it would likely be more, there would be a greater risk factor having a glass of this piece.
And it's heavier, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be heavier.
Yeah.
Quarter-inch tempered glass would not be any big deal at all. Safety wouldn't be that much more expensive, I don't think. It would be, safety concern wouldn't be there because it'd be tempered. And heaviness, quarter-inch is not that heavy. The standoffs are made for that. It's just an idea. It would look great. It would make your sign look better.
Now, these letters, are they raised letters? Or are they going to be individual letters that are applied onto it? It's not going to be like a,
Final letter that will be affixed or applied to the plexiglass.
okay, but it's just not going to be,
It's not going to be raised.
no, it's just, okay, so it's just going to be affixed to plexiglass, okay.
Just to belabor the conversation about dirt, that was certainly a consideration when we were making the suggestion. We had thought about it too, but it goes back to, they're looking for a clean look. If it becomes dirty, pull it off. It should be easy to pull off, clean off. You could also buffer it. You could put, what do you call it, grommets, not grommets, but like
I know exactly what you're talking about.
so a piece of plastic, a rubber, rubber ring that allows washer of some sort that raises it just a little bit off the surface. You can still see through it. Doesn't put up against the building. You don't got leaves back there behind it. So.
Right. That'd be the same idea as a standoff. Exact same idea. No, that's fine.
You're the official term. I have the, I can't remember.
That's right.
That is an important concept for cleaning purposes.
It would last a lot longer. The glass would.
So coming up with a compromise solution, get them the signage, but also going to be de minimis on the effect on the impact of the building. If you want to make recommendations with regards to mounting, certainly within your discretion to do so.
comments?
Ralph, would you amend your motion to include mounting with the least?
Least visual impact. I amend my motion to recommend mounting with de minimis impact.
Is that the right way to apply that word?
As long as we know what it means.
We're all on the same page there.
Exactly, okay.
Now, what do you mean by impact, a minimus impact to?
Visual.
Visual, yeah,
Okay.
and allow for maintenance of the sign. I think so, yeah.
You guys arm wrestled for it, I think. I think you guys arm wrestled for it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm rereading it to make sure it's correct.
Yeah, when do you need it down? Okay.
I just hate to see us.
Okay,
If they had a right, I mean, that's business center, you.
I know, it's just the fact that it's a historical building, and that's what I don't want.
okay, I guess we're up for a vote then.
Go ahead.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes.
Any abstains? You got that marked down? Okay. Looks like it passes.
Right?
We'll work with them. The banner sign was up while they were getting the sign approved. We'll work with them to get the banner sign.
Yeah, we really didn't put anything in here about materials, but definitely work with your, to get the best materials for it.
We will. We'll talk about the glass. We'll talk about all the options for it.
Specifically ask for UV resistant
Okay.
acrylic or polycarbonate
Okay. Absolutely.
suggestions.
Can I give you my card? Could you email me the specifics, or
Sure.
is that permitted? Or?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'd love to hear about the more
Yeah, I can easily do
specific
that.
options.
Sure, it's no problem at all.
Can I ask a question before you get started real quick?
Mhm.
I've never worked here or done this process. Where do I go from here as far as my deck permits? And I got to come back and pick them up at some time? Or?
I'm Sherry Wilson. She's our clerk. She handles the building permits with Joe Barbo. She's here in the morning, 8:30.
Okay.
So stop by and she'll get you that. Just let her know the ARB approved your application.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
I make a motion to approve ZP 2014-1107-A, a reapproval of an elevation at 15101 Washington Street.
Okay, I got a motion. Any seconds?
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion and second. That opens it up for discussion.
Is this just the sign?
No,
Or is it the
ma'am.
whole
Some
thing?
background. So you may recall a number of years ago there was a site plan approved for the Winterham property.
Long
It was a vested site plan. They commenced, they did all the infrastructure installation. The property had gone into foreclosure. It was subsequently sold. The folks that bought it had contacted us saying, do we have the rights to still build the buildings under the original plan? And they did. They've gone and updated their building plans for that building. They did contact us, which I do appreciate the contact us, and said, hey, do we have to renew our permit for the Architectural Review Board? Those permits last a year. And so as an administrative item, we've brought it back to you to simply.
But there's been no changes to it?
No, ma'am, the same thing. The only suggestion I had made to the architect was the current building, this is going to be a similar sister building, there is some challenge with the divided light windows for the tenants on the first floor. When you drive by, and you see this sometimes on the Foster's building, you can't really see into the buildings. So it's hard to see if there's any activity happening. And so we had talked to the architect saying, could we make it, an option to them to come up with some sort of alternate windows for the retailers. So if they wanted to do a picture window with a sign, without a divided light, they'd be able to do a sign in the window that you would have to approve. So they were agreeable to that, and I would put it as part of my approval. Applicant's option to look at alternate window types for first floor retailers. And also screening mechanical equipment, your design guidelines talk about screening HVAC systems and the like. The existing building, I wasn't able to determine whether or not it had a screening. When you're on Washington Street and you look between what I call the balloon building, the Winterhand, you see all those utilities going down the back. So the suggestion was that they screen it either with vegetation, like evergreen vegetation, or a fence or some other screening. So
So the back is going to back to Fayette?
Fayette, yes.
So the east elevation is what's showing on Fayette. North is what you'd see from Washington Street.
Right.
So
Will there be, I can't tell if there's any, like fencing along the back or no, or,
there is,
is there? Am I missing it?
you will see some fencing on packet page 60. You'll see on the upper section of the east elevation, you'll see some fencing. I believe it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the sixth building in. You'll see some screening along there. What you see is on the far left, you can see the mechanical equipment down on the ground. See that little box?
Yeah. No, I see it. It's right there. That looks like a porch.
I was just saying, that looks like a porch to me,
Yeah. Just saying.
Well,
That was
I'm
a
sorry,
porch.
fencing on a porch. It's a porch, I'm sorry.
It's called a railing.
Or railing, excuse me. Kind of like my
Tough
my
crowd
rubber
tonight.
my rubber bumper thing.
Rubber baby buggy bumper.
So
But what I meant was like out the back of the building,
So you need
like to
fencing around
separate
it.
the, per se, units. Do you see what I'm saying?
I didn't see
no,
it.
that wasn't the intent of the original approval.
Yeah, I don't know if there's really any room for fencing
Yeah, I was
anyway.
just-
And it would give it more of a townhouse look versus
Yeah.
what we're really looking for. Good question. So anyway, as an administrative item, we wanted to bring it back to you, just give you a heads up that it's coming in, and I would add to my approval just the option to the first floor retailer.
Any comments on that option?
No, I'm fine
You know,
with the option to do that.
And the option, of course, would be with the restriction that they need to come back for approvals for any new option design, right?
I'm sorry, yes, that was implied. It just simply says, substantial conformance with this. No, we're saying the optional, we'll put that in there. Option to propose an alternate type, that type to be submitted to the ARB. So I can do that. Thank you for clarifying that.
So are there two separate applications? One
Yes.
for this and
And
then one for the sign?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was, okay. I see, 1107A, okay.
Okay, any more questions? Good to go then, huh? Okay, we'll put it up for vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Do we need to amend the motion though first
Yeah, I guess we should.
For the windows.
for the windows?
For the option for the windows.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little late since we've now taken a vote on it, but
But we haven't taken a vote.
yeah, we just
We
did.
haven't
I
taken
didn't say
a
anything.
full vote.
You called for a vote.
Yes,
I
I
People
did.
answered.
Yes, I did.
But I did not.
That's mostly irrelevant.
Well, then I will put in a motion that we amend. If we're gonna, zoning permit ZP 20141107-A to include an ability to put an alternate glass and
The commercial
Window
space.
design.
commercial windows design with the,
Subject to ARB approval.
thank you, subject to ARB approval.
I
Got a
second.
motion, I got a second. Any discussion required for this? Okay.
Now we need a
Let's-
vote.
let's vote.
Now we need another vote.
Let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstains? Okay. We're good to go then.
I'd like to make a motion for zoning permit ZP 2014-1107 for a sign on the Winterham 2 property.
Second.
A motion and a second, open for discussion. Pretty straightforward, I don't know if much is really needed.
The sign that's out there today that has the florist on it, that will come down.
Okay.
Okay,
The only other suggestion I had made was that right now they show the tenants on the inside, the interior of the sign. See how they have about 5 or 6 different spaces that are unmarked?
yeah,
So,
right on the
Oh, I see.
outside. and
Right.
I mean, it's really at their discretion to do. I just said to them, saying, wouldn't you want to put the ones on the outside? They will do that. They're probably going to put a sign that says for leasing information, kind of what they do over at Red House Ordinary.
Right.
But that's, you're more looking at the type style and the color, but it'll be up to them to kind of arrange the tenants.
Yeah. I thought I did do it just like.
Pretty much straightforward. Now, I didn't really look at the descriptive too well. Did it go over the colors they were going to use? Okay. Just to make sure that's,
Do we need to
Been
amend
laid in
it
there.
now, stating recommend that they? Do we need to just?
About the tenants? No. You know.
That's something they have.
Yeah, they have the,
Right.
yeah, you have the option to do. I just, when I looked at it, I said you would seem to want to make a
I just
better
want
use
to
of
make
the
sure we
tenants.
didn't have to
No, it's-
worry about that coming back.
There is a provision in the ordinance that they are allowed to change the message of the sign so long as it's the same.
Right, lettering
Type,
and.
yeah.
okay, I guess it's up for a vote then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Any abstains? Okay. Now, get to move on to something that's going to take us the most time tonight, right?
I'm a little disappointed John's not here.
What's that?
I said, I'm a little disappointed John's not here. Mr. Chairman, that's one of the reasons why I'm here this evening. Should I tee it up before you go into
Oh, we gotta
discussion?
make a motion before we go into discussion.
Do we have a
We don't
permit
have a
number on
permit
this?
number on it.
Is this just for feedback, or is there
Is this
actual?
actually a COA or is it just?
It is, I'm sorry. When it came in electronically, and they were submitting this to us this way. So we'll get you a number. So,
Okay. I make a motion to approve zoning permit number to be supplied for property at 15315 Washington Street, Sheets.
I'll second.
I got a motion and a second. It's up for discussion. If you could,
a couple of backgrounds and some suggestions. First, this was an application that came before you probably over a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago.
Been a while.
They had come to you with several proposals for the reconstruction. So this is a project to tear down the existing building. They're proposing to build a new building behind it. There's a copy of the site plan in your package. It also consolidates, replace and consolidate the canopies that are out there today. What may be beneficial to you is in the narrative on the second page, there were recommendations that came out of that discussion, and they've explained how they've incorporated some of those changes into the plan. What's happening concurrently is they're processing a site plan to reconstruct the facility. There's a special use permit that goes along with that. They've also suggested a sign ordinance amendment to allow for the sign types that you see in this package.
So that will come before us at a different time?
The sign ordinance may come before you, but what the sign ordinance, I'm sorry, no. You're being asked to look at the sign types that are a part of this program tonight.
So
And-
it's a whole deal.
It's a whole deal. So there's some contingencies on it. So, but let me first explain what else is happening. So, site plan amendment, special use permit, zoning text amendment to amend the ordinance to allow the sign types that they're proposing. All those go through the Planning Commission, public hearing, go to the council as well.
Hasn't been done yet.
Hasn't been done yet. I guess the idea was to come to you first, get some vetting of the sign types, make any tweaks that may come out of your suggestions. and then move the rest of the applications forward. If something were to change, either the architecture of the building were to change, the sign standards that were adopted changed, which would affect this, you would have to come back through to you. So this is just kind of a way to kick off before they formally resubmit their plans and go along. There is a sign ordinance assessment that is currently underway. We hired a consultant to do that. That process will probably take longer than these folks getting through the review process or approval process. So I would hope that this is kind of kickstart to revisiting some of our sign standards and what's appropriate. In this case, we did make a suggestion on the signs, that the building signs match Fauquier Bank and CVS with the gooseneck indirect lighting. They've incorporated that into their plan. The canopy, I'm sorry, they're going to tee it up for you. So the applicant is here this evening, Jay Duvon from Walsh Colucci, also Alan Stevens from Sheets. They're here to kind of walk you through, rather than me, the changes. I would suggest that if you wish to extend your to have them come back, and it's a long day. In the ordinance, it says you have 14 days to weigh in and approve an application. Obviously, you can't do that because your meeting's in a month. So you would make the suggestion that the applicant agree to defer action on this to a further meeting. So that way you address the ordinance standard. Very bureaucratic exercise. So that being said, I'll bring up Mr. Duvon and Mr. Stevens. So. You guys want to sit at the table at podium, or? Here you go. I'll move.
Are you going to give us a presentation, or are we just going to ask questions? How do you want to do it?
I'll have Jay make the introduction, and then I can walk you through the packet we put together for you, just to refresh memories.
Evening. Sheets is, I'm Jay Duvon. I'm with Walsh Colucci here on behalf of Sheets. And they have a plan that I think Marchand's done a good job of describing to you. Their intention would like to rebuild this facility, build a new store, get rid of the double canopies, go to one canopy, and try to make the site function better, look more modern. The site was built in 1994, so it's been there for 20 years.
And when you say modern, you mean historic modern, right?
Absolutely. But to be more consistent with their other facilities and more recognizable. And we think it's a better looking product. And the facility they have there is showing its age, if you will. Now, you may think that's a good thing, but it's also becoming less functional. And we also think the traffic circulation will be better with this facility. So Alan's been working with their sign folks and their architects for some time, actually, for most of the last year, trying to pull all the information together. They have a sign program that they would use in most jurisdictions. Obviously, they can't with respect to building signs and that sort of thing here, where you're using the non-illuminated signs and the goosenecks to light them, not internally illuminated. They're also proposing a new freestanding sign. The existing sign was approved with a variance in 1994. Variance is still good. The sign could stay there. They think the newer sign is more attractive and more functional, and they said that they'd like to get approval of the new sign. And that includes a price sign. And so that's pretty much the story, unless you've got something to go through. Alan's really the expert on it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we were, obviously monitoring the site with the plans that VDOT has for the interchange. So our goal was to, when we rebuild this site, it's going to be not quite an undertaking. We're hoping to do that at the same time as the work, but I don't think it's going to dovetail very well. So we're going to proceed with our application, obviously. And like Marchant described, we have an older facility. It's been bandaged and taped, and time to build a new building. Our business is changing also. So this new building will be built directly behind the existing building. Our business will stay open throughout the process, and then when the new building is ready, it will open and they will demolish the existing store. We will then remove all the petroleum tanks, lines, dispensers, canopies, and put in brand new technology. Currently, we have 2 canopies. We'll go to 1 canopy, and it has 10 dispensers, or we call them MPDs. So what we'll end up with is a new facility. The building is larger. It operates more like a restaurant. It has inside seating, seasonal outdoor seating, larger kitchen, much larger bathrooms, and a larger area in which to order your food. Right, the building now is rather cramped. We try to keep our models consistent. So when you go to one sheets, the next sheet you go to, you expect the same services, and we're kind of a victim of our own success. We put too much into our buildings, and you can walk over there today and see that. It's pretty tight. So in the packet, we have renderings. I have some photographs, too, if you'd like to see them, of what we would like to build. Number 3, it's a brick building, 4-side architecture. At the base of the building is stone. We have LED lighting throughout the site, inside and outside. And as we mentioned, the signs on the building either are gooseneck, illuminated, illuminated not from internally but externally, and a couple of our signs actually have a light underneath them. Our Sheetz logo signs in the building are illuminated from the bottom, but they are illuminated externally.
Are there any of these buildings like this prototype anywhere
Yes.
in the area?
We are actually, we have several that we are in different phases of approval in the county. The closest building, I would say, is in Winchester. In Winchester on Route 7, Berryville Pike, we did this about 3 years ago. We had an older store. We built a new building directly behind it. It's the exact same process. Now that one's a little bit different. It has a car wash. It's lots of different size. But I did bring some photos if you'd like to see them of some of the architectural features that we're talking about tonight.
That would be
That's
great.
probably the closest building.
Sorry, Warrenton? Warrenton seems to be in a similar...
Warrenton was a remodel. Originally, with this project, they were going to remodel it. Total inside, total outside. We even had, our contractor was here in front of you and talked all about it. At some point, somebody named Sheetz drove by and said, "We're not remodeling that building. We're going to build a brand new building." And we've lobbied them and said, "Well, if we could just remodel it, then it could stay open and this and that." But they said the store is just too small. It needs to be replaced. So that's why there has been some delay, a little bit internal back and forth. We've had some projects that we had to escalate in some other areas. But yeah, Warrenton's a remodel. We're going to remodel our store in Chantilly. We're going to remodel our store in Leesburg. We recently remodeled our store on the Prince William Parkway in Woodbridge. And we're remodel our store and add on to it in Manassas Park. But here, what we'd like to do is build a new structure. And like, I guess, as Marchant described, I was here before and more trying to get some suggestions, introduce what we would like to do. And there were some suggestions that we have already implemented. And that's in section 2, second page. As I described, we would like to keep the existing store open while we're building. We have a lot of experience with this now. It sounds a little bit crazy, but we have the same process underway. We're starting next month in Stevens City, Virginia. We have another project in Winchester where we're going to rebuild the store and keep the existing store open.
How long will the gas pumps be? How long a process is that?
Good question. The store itself could be 16 to 18 weeks. The gas pumps,
Pretty fast.
yeah, they could do it. The gas pumps, I wish I could tell. I don't know that answer.
But
Sometimes
it's definitely going to not be functioning. The gas pumps will not be functioning while you're redoing the
Pulling
new
out the
part.
tanks, yeah.
and all
they,
that.
I'm not really the expert on that. What they try to do, they try to phase it so they can keep one canopy open
Oh, I see.
and replace the other. I don't know how they. I believe we have a phasing with our application. We have a description of how it will be phased. But again, it's the goal is to sell things. So we try to keep the gas, at least some of the gas open. Sometimes it has to be totally taken out. But we'll have a phasing description in our application, our second.
Special use permit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we talked about the outdoor table umbrellas. A lot of our stores, it's a brighter shade of green. They suggest a darker color, and that's reflected on the rendering. At the top of the store, there's a soldier course of brick, and above it is a cap. And that cap generally is red. What we're going to do is just use bronze so it matches the other dark bronze features on the building. The signs on the building are externally illuminated. As a rule, we use LED lighting everywhere, inside and outside. Underneath the canopy is LED cutoff lighting, so we have to meet with. We will have a photo metric so that all the light stays on the property, and the lenses are flat. They don't protrude down as they look today, and it's an LED light, so it's easy to focus, and it's a good clean light.
Add to that, Alan. So the street lights would match the 8-corner lights that we have today, but internal to the site it would be.
Fuel canopy, I can show you some pictures of what we like to do. We do have a new column that we propose to use, and number 3 toward the back is a fuel canopy, and we have not built this yet, so I have some pictures of some stores under construction. The actual column is a bronze and brick. So it will look very similar to that. And actually, hard to see, but the lighting is actually hard to see, but they use the lights, so they're in the deck of the canopy. Yeah. So that is the actual column for the fuel canopy. There's a rendering in here also. The top of the canopy itself, today it is a vinyl material. Actually, we just replaced it recently because the one that was there just couldn't be repaired.
I know when you were replacing it, I was like, well, I thought they were going to.
Well, again, some guy named Sheets drove by and said,
That
this
looks
is
terrible.
ridiculous. You guys are taking too long. Until then, let's replace the vinyl.
We did get the RV approval.
Yeah, we did get our AirB. The new canopy is not backlit, just like this one isn't backlit. But it's it's called ACM. It's an aluminum composite material. So let me get you a picture of what that might look like. This is the store that we did down in North Carolina.
Go visit. Where is it?
Good question. We now have 80 stores down there. I've never visited one of them, I have no idea where it is. Well, while we're looking at that, you can pass that around. That's a picture of our fixture in our parking lot. It's a bronze. It matches the store. It's a low profile light with LED. So. So this is a little bit different, but that's called that's aluminum. It's a material that comes from our manufacturer. The color is basically baked onto it. It has a warranty, so that so the color can hold for 15 years.
Can I ask you?
And so that's what a metal canopy looks like.
It's really red.
Pardon me?
It's really red.
Well, we eliminated a lot of red. This is from my
You
copiers.
did.
My copy does copy red.
So I see how this is brick up here.
Yes.
And this is not going to be brick then? It's going to be a bronze instead?
What that is,
Or is that not the same
hides
piece?
That hides, here's the wall, then this piece sits back, that hides all the mechanicals.
Oh, I
That's
got
actually
you.
not the
I
same.
got you.
Yes.
No, I'm tracking.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, it's
I'm
this.
tracking.
It's this right
I
there.
got you.
Back then?
I see it.
Here's a picture
No, I can see it in this one. I got it now. I was just,
where it sits
It's
back.
that, yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Did you get to see that? Oh, she did.
So that's
No, this
the
one's
idea of the canopy.
Oh, there's just one of them.
I know we've always talked about,
Some type of detail.
I think we had lots of discussion about was the trash enclosure. So we do have a rendering of what we want to do there too, but trash enclosures are, a brick on 3 sides. So this is a picture of one we just built recently in Hagerstown, Maryland. So it's larger so that everything fits inside of it. And so there's a rendering too, but that's a real world. I don't really want to kill you with information, but
No, please do.
I have a real quick, I'm probably going to jump ahead, but you can tell me just to hold off. So you went to all this, you went to all this trouble to do the bronze on these poles,
Which we like.
and the main, which is great, but the main sign has neon white things holding up the huge sign on the corner,
they're silver actually. They're not.
which is worse.
Okay.
You just went from bad to worse. Can we, I mean, that's the gateway into our town, so you're making all these strides on the building and the gas pumps, which we love. However, it doesn't seem like the structure of the main sign matches what you're doing to the building and the gas pumps.
It comes off as very modern.
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess that is definitely a good question. I don't know. I know I have some answers. I don't have that answer. That's something I
I'm
would
just-
certainly bring back.
It's just something that stood out to me because the
Yeah.
design, you did such a good job in answering the questions
Okay.
and the concerns, but it almost didn't translate all the way out to the curb.
Okay.
I guess would the ARB have suggestions on what would be appropriate alternative?
Even incorporating the brick or
Right.
something along those lines.
I mean, how
Something
close-
that more in line with the signs that we have within the town, if at all possible.
But even here, how you did the
The brick and the bronze.
brick and the bronze. I mean, I don't, obviously this is square, those are round, whatever, but
Yeah,
there has to be some way to,
recommendations on a large sign, that's going to be tough for us to
No.
figure out. you know, we got two things going on. We got the gateway there, right? It's a gateway to our town, but it's also the passageway for
Hallowed ground.
hallowed ground. You know, and of course, they have their own theme that they want to try and lay on it. We are going to try and work with them to blend our gateway so that it
With their
kind of
pathway.
fits appropriately.
Right.
And this is definitely a little bit on the Nouveau side.
Art Deco?
The Art Deco, yeah.
And we had spoken, we met here actually with, she's no longer with Hallowed Grounds. We talked about using, it has nothing to do with the sign, but the red bud and
Incorporating the planting scheme
Right.
of the journey
Oh.
through their
Right.
landscaping.
That would be great.
That'd be nice.
yes, yeah.
He's doing that.
Yeah, we already, you know, when we met with her, she talked about that. I went back to our folks. I said, "Do we have a problem maintaining red buds?" And they said, "No." So so
I mean, I think that's one of my
It's
biggest
one of my
concerns.
concerns, too.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could answer that question today. I'll be honest, I'm not really a lot of our signage is kind of driven by our brand and our marketing department. So that's something I'll take back to them and see what kind of options I'd have.
That'd be great.
So,
Please do.
I guess if we're going to make recommendations, size, scale, massing. Is the height okay, but the material's problematic? Is the sign?
What is the, let me see the
This
height.
is, right now, in terms of the height and the side, it looks like they're going to use the existing pole, so it's the same width. The height, I would assume, would be similar, if not the same height that you've got the sign, the existing sign. You're using the infrastructure that's out there.
Is the sign being relocated?
Well, that was our original thought process was, let's use the existing poles and replace all those panels.
Okay.
And it basically was the exact same sign you see today, but updated. And they were going to wrap the columns.
The sheets aren't going to like that.
Well, they said, why don't we use something we're using everywhere else? Instead of having a sign that looks like nothing else we have, why don't you use a sign like this that we're using many of our locations? So that's why, and I think this sign actually was even brought before you several years ago when we were going to, a company called Diamond Z was our contractor. They were going to remodel our store. They presented this exact same sign. So I figured, well, this has already been here. People may remember it. It's a sign that we're using in a lot of places. So that's why they
We like to be different.
suggested this sign. So that's kind of a little bit of history on it.
So is the height, the height and everything is the same?
I think actually
I think it
it's
was
lower.
shorter.
It's
Wasn't
like
it?
4 feet, and this one's
25.
It's slightly shorter.
Close.
Okay.
Well,
It's close, yeah.
I had remarked that it was listing to one side at one point.
Yeah,
Someone
well-
did it with a car, and they were going to fix that.
Actually, we had our sign company come out and inspect it, and they inspected the foundation, and the poles themselves are all structurally fine.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to miss. I just, we were talking about it one day.
Yeah.
Someone had backed up and hit it.
I'm surprised more people don't back up and hit things up there.
Never was a safety issue. Bring it
Okay.
back.
So as a recommendation, in this picture here, you got the bronze columns and kind of like the stone at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Kind of
That's
the idea.
that's a
That's something we could incorporate.
what we're doing now. We kind of adopted this column, this as you see here. That's we're trying to build them all that way. So many times people say, well, how about some like we did some stores in Fredericksburg and Spotsylvania. Well, not Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania. They said we want this. And so after a while, everybody said, well, since everybody's asking for it, why don't we just make that our typical column? So.
I would like the brick to go all the way up,
Me
though.
too.
That would be
Well,
nice.
the problem, we just had this discussion in Stafford, where the problem is, it's called damage. If somebody, we do put bollards in front of them. If somebody hits them, a bit of a safety problem, because now you have an unstable brick. They're,
That's true.
They're 16 feet tall. So we actually use, this is brick. We thought about using like a,
Face of
it's like a board, a brick board.
Yeah.
But then you have, then you have seams. So on the seams or something else. Whereas we've done this a lot. Actually, our brick used to be 3 feet. This is more like 6 feet of brick. And we actually have one of these standing out in front of our construction office. It's been out there for a couple of years just testing it, you know. And so they feel comfortable that it's going to stand up. The color's going to stand up well. Was another issue. And, you know, we do put some bollards there to protect it as we put bollards into the
I'm talking about not this.
No, we're fine with that part.
This is fine. I'm talking about
The
the
sign.
sign on the corner
Yeah.
as opposed
Oh, I
to.
see.
Yeah,
Okay.
using that for the sign.
Yeah. Again, I'll have to probably go back and see what we can do with that pole.
Was the issue is if it got hit, the bricks would potentially crack and fall?
Well, that was yeah. Well, and then once it's hit, then you have new bricks, and it never quite looks
Match.
the same again. So it's a little different if you have 6 feet of brick versus 12 feet. So that's why they use the
Yeah, this looks fine
Okay.
at the pump area. I'm talking about the sign, the
Yeah.
main sign out on the road.
I need to do a little bit of homework for you on that one.
Okay,
I mean, and
that'd be great.
could it just be a different design altogether? Something more in line with the signs that we already have in our town?
How do I do that? Like, meaning here's my process is well, I guess is it like we talked, is it the columns or is it what is it that
Columns, is it the round logo? Is it the
It's not the logo to me. To me, it's the modern
The
look.
modern, which is very more Art Deco type.
But if you change the structure that it's on, I think it will appear to be.
change the difference of,
I mean, just as an example, I still have people stop me and say how much they think CVS is nice. That was torture getting that approved. Spent months. But it was worth it. I mean, it looks different than any other.
and everybody still knows it's CVS.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, so again, it's, the height, maybe not so much problematic, so maybe the massing of the sign is not necessarily at issue, it's the materials that make up that sign.
Correct.
They kind of have the square, then they have the round thing affixed. Is there another option to?
Well, let's be clear about exactly what we're talking about here. Is it just essentially the stainless steel columns that you're talking about, or is it the signage itself? I mean, because you still have the corporate logo. There's only so much they're going to be able to do with that.
Right.
Right.
So really, what is the objection? The stainless steel more than anything else?
I don't
If
think
we're,
it's
if we're
the-
going to help them, we got to give them some
To
specifics.
me,
as to
it's
what to
not
deal
the
with.
logo or their MTO sign. To me, it's the structure that it is sitting on.
The stainless steel columns.
Yes, the side structure that's holding it up.
For me, that would be the only issue for me, just the columns.
But the columns with the kind of the separate structure that sits on top of that's an oval, that's okay?
See, I'm not so
bother
crazy.
me.
I'm not so crazy about that either, though. I mean, if we're gonna,
I think that if you change the
but can you have structures and have everything inside those structures, as opposed to them
that's
sitting
something
on
you
top?
have to
of
ask
stuff?
Kind
them.
of what's out there today, it's simply a large rectangle, and they
Is
kind
that what
of,
it is?
and it's separate little,
It's two metal poles, and in between you have panels. Right. And they can. I mean, and I do have a drawing where they simply took out. They put our new logo and new pricing. Everything's brand new. Use the same poles and then dress the poles up. But we thought it was recommended to, since this sign had been in front of you before, use this sign because we use it. You know.
It just doesn't, to me, it doesn't appear to match the changes that were made to the building and the islands.
You go to section number 6, and then look just in front of the divider number 6, you'll see the existing sign.
I don't have it.
I'm not seeing it.
look at the other file.
Yep.
There it is right here.
Yeah, see. Yeah, but I still don't think that this Where'd I go with my logos? That the sign would look bad sitting on top as long as the structure was different. This structure was different.
It'd be a lot easier for him to work on getting the poles changed than trying to get the whole sign changed.
Mm-hmm.
The poles, yeah,
Much
the
easier.
poles are the issue.
I mean, almost, you know, that, where the logo, the oval almost sits on top, you could almost, their ability to put that oval within the two columns and just kind of.
See, I don't so much have a problem with this. It's just the structure that it's sitting on.
I mean,
Personally, I mean, that's my opinion.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. For example, in Chantilly, before we remodel that store next year, we're going out soon and taking the aluminum. It's like a light brown color now, and they're older. We're going to take those off and put bronze on, like you see there. That seems pretty simple. You know, I guess it probably sounds simple to replace this with a different color. I just want to make sure that we can actually do that, because I don't get too involved in the actual construction of the signs.
I mean, something more to match what's happening in the gas pump area, like maybe a smaller base of brick and then the bronze going up.
Bronze columns and a brick water table,
Yeah.
Did you have some suggestions? Since, I mean, you're involved with a lot of signage.
on the spot.
Yeah.
Mr. Opinionated all of a sudden put on the spot.
Yeah.
Mr. Opinionated doesn't have an opinion.
Well, I mean, you are involved with a lot of signage. I mean,
They are. I mean, we're typically, there's always an issue. You're in a high traffic corner.
right.
And so, Alan, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the last time we had talked about the canopy specifically was the idea of the backlit sign, but a backlit canopy is that if you're, I'll do this now, when I'm driving, I get off 81 at an exit, I look around, I see the red canopy, that's where I drive to because I know that's Sheets. So last time what we had talked about was when you mute the canopy, by not backlighting it, then the issue becomes they wanted to say, well, we wanted to have the ability to have our signs on the corner. So there, I think the heights, compared to what's across the streets, it seems like it's nominal. I think we have to be careful about what if CVS wants to come back in and do a CVS sign. I think some distinction here is the fact that they have fuel pricing, so
Right.
maybe it's how we call it. The option to go in narrow and high is to go lower and wider. That's one option. There's the challenge you're having there is they're right the property line. There's a couple things going on. There's a property line there. There's a curb that's there, so they kind of have a finite
Like a
space
right
where-
away.
Yeah, where they can put
Like
it on the corner.
mhm.
A lot of that's going to be taken with the interchange. So, but something that maybe matches a little bit. There's not really, like I said, a lot of aluminum on the building. And it compromises doing the bronze and the red water table. I think I'm of the proponent that we have the ability to do something unique because of the gateway. They are incorporating some of these other things. I may have the Journey Through Holland Brown palette with the signs in there, although there may be some argument that maybe you don't want to match them too much because you want to create some distinction from the corridor versus the town. So I don't know if I'm really helping you. That's
No,
more of,
yeah, I'm
that's
just,
more of, do you want it contained in kind of a squared sign? Do you want it higher, lower? Do you want it wider?
I mean, I don't have a problem with the height or the branding. I mean, I get the whole logo thing and all that and the recognition. I just,
And it's backlit too, so it'll be backlit as well.
visual.
A lot of times you'll see gas stations, they have the ground mounted ones that are very low and have those types of things. But again, they do have some entitlement by the variants that they have today, and they're going to come back in and do something a little bit different. So, if there's a consensus of what the materials may be, that's the direction. Say, hey, can you go find something that has a little bit more subdued columns, maybe match a little bit more with the architecture?
Just see what they can do.
I do want to ask, does Alan looks at the canopy red is different than the building canopy red? Is that by design?
is it different?
He was saying it was his printer. That's what he said. The
Well,
ink.
it's, here's, here's the
Where I was going with it.
here's the explanation, which is I can, for example, our canopy is made by one manufacturer, and they call their red JLR red. What we call them are canopies like over our doors, and the peak are made by a different manufacturer, and they have a couple different names for their red. Pantone 202. So, it's kind of like if you order a Buick, I would say I want a red Buick, but what
It's
red
all
is it?
different
It's
color
their
reds.
Misty red versus somebody else's sparkling red. So they are very close, but the manufacturers have their own names for the reds.
The reason why I brought it up too was to say, maybe matching the building red versus the
Canopy red.
Yeah.
Subdue it a little bit. So
One spot back when we first started using the aluminum materials, and it's happened in Fredericksburg in Central Park, is actually painted similar to body paint, paint a car. Didn't hold up very well, and so we use a material that has a warranty, color holds up, paint holds up, and they just have different names for their red. They just try to match them.
let's hear they just had brown magic marker.
I know.
Doing the brown bronze there.
Square as opposed to.
Aluminum. Trying to get a little side by side, but just comparing it to the canopy would look like maybe not necessarily the brick water table, but just the bronze. Alan, is that something that's going to look into? Maybe doing
I'll
bronze
definitely look into it. The one thing that's is different is because of the LED lighting, because of less windows in the building, it actually is a darker product, and you can drive by. I don't know if you ever get to Winchester, but even like our store in Prince William Parkway, it's darker at night. So
let's talk more about the columns.
yeah, might look like it'll be a floating sign out there.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But,
Maybe the dark.
but I just, I'm certainly willing. I'm willing to go back. I'll call our sign people tomorrow, and if we've done it someplace else, I'll make sure you get the pictures right away and see what I can do.
Square as opposed to round,
Right.
square, and the brick water table on the sign to match what is going on at the pumps.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Did you hear me?
What?
I said square posts, like what they have under the canopies, and the brick water table, like.
Oh, those are, okay, yeah, because I was thinking that's the square.
You see what I'm saying, Ralph?
Well, Ken just
Yeah,
brought up a
yeah, I was looking at a
interesting
different
point
picture.
about the awning.
Stone, round,
Yeah.
brick, square.
Canopy.
Yeah,
I was noticing the crown molding on the old.
and also with the canopy, this is something, I guess, my personal preference. I have a picture here of one that you presented before that had like a crown molding on it. This helps enhance the accent of the soldier course with the trim on the building. I was wondering, if that could be included, because I see the picture you gave before
Right.
is just a plain.
Yeah, we can do that. The other one we've been doing a lot more of. It's actually just a 4-foot. The crown molding, I'm not exactly sure how tall it is, but we can do the crown mold. We can do that crown molding version if you like that.
Yeah, no, I like
Pass
that.
that around and let people see that, just to compare the two.
Just jumped out at me. As opposed to the curved, like what's you just
Well, it's
replaced.
It's
Yeah.
well, what we replaced out there today, that's a vinyl product. This will be aluminum.
Yeah, it's completely different.
Completely
But I
different.
mean, I'm talking about how it's curved and.
Yeah, it won't be curved on top now. This,
Yeah, this one's not curved. This is
we
flat.
tend to we find something that works, we go with it. This one's been working nicely, but we did talk about that. It's very similar. It just has this little piece on
more
top.
architectural detail.
Okay.
Finish.
Other than that, it's the exact same.
I have a question about the sign. You have a couple of different ways that you incorporate the word sheep, and there's about 3 different types of designs.
You wanted to see the comparison?
When you look at this, it's more
just a standard, but yet on here, it's a newer, just a
Right.
much better type. Is that
That's the new,
is this the one that you want to use?
right, that's the old logo. and
Which
that's-
one is which?
This,
Show me.
on the existing sign,
This.
the old logo,
Oh, yeah.
Sign.
and then this is.
That's the new, like what's here.
Right,
Oh,
I
right
like-
there.
and there's.
Right.
Yeah. There's just a couple of
I
them.
like this better.
I do too.
Yeah. It looks kind of retro.
It just blends in.
Yes.
So Susan was talking about recommendations on the sign while you guys had your sidebar. So her suggestion was the consensus of the ARB that the sign, the pylon sign on the corner have the
Square
support
bronze.
beams be a different color. You suggested square.
Just to tie in with
Yeah.
what they did in the.
And then
With the pumps.
I think what they may do is you may go back and do they have other sign types that can fit that? And
Brick
then-
water table.
And then you wanted a water table, a brick water table, or what
To tie it together.
Water table to tie it in. Okay. So the same. I don't want to keep going back to it, but the other elements were okay. You got the ARB was okay with.
I mean, to me, it was fine. It's whatever you guys.
Yeah, the signage itself was fine.
Do you have the direction you need?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, very quick.
All right, so where does that leave us?
Yeah.
We've had a motion.
So what
Which
was
I can certainly
Kind of
withdraw.
recorded, kind of bulleted off, or at least we can pull off the minutes for bulleting it off, right?
So they still have to go before the PC. Is that correct?
Correct. So their special use permit is for the gas station. Their site plan, which is for the construction. The ordinance amendment to permit the sign types that they want. That all will have to go through the planning commission and the town council.
Mm-hmm.
That might change. So, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, I'm kind of talking over a lot. So, a couple of things I'd like to have your feedback on is, we talked about the pylon sign. You're okay with the other signage that's on the building. They have some that's wall mounted. They have some that's a marquee sign. It has some depth to it, some texture. That's all externally illuminated. We're okay with the other sign types that are on the building.
Yeah, I think they blend in well enough.
They also have, they're
They also
doing kind of
accent.
that marquee where it's metal and painted red, and they're doing some other elements where ARB's okay with what's going on there.
Because we went through a lot of that
Stomach's growling.
last time.
Yeah, a lot of that was done last time.
So the building itself, they're doing some window signage. You see on some of them, going to do some windows in there. Canopies, I'm assuming it's a canvas canopy, it's away from the building. ARB's okay with the canopy. It does have some relief on it, you can see the pattern.
Right.
Yeah, it's like this.
The canopy is
They're like
actually a
these.
metallic on the building. The
Yeah, it's a
canopy on the
canvas
building.
window awning.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
There's not necessarily a red color. We would be adhering to kind of the tone that's there.
Yes.
Maybe assigning a specific, in other words, you would be approving something that would be close to that. That's why I'm making the distinction. It's
Okay.
the same color as
Here was
paint.
another question I had. When you come, I mean, are we going to defer this and?
I'm getting there. I think so.
Okay, but my question was, would it be possible to bring samples of some of the materials for us to see?
That's why I'm kind of going step by
Yeah.
step. Would you like to see some of these more specific colors for
Yes.
the canopies? Or like,
Yeah. Yeah, I brought some with me, but I can put a whole board together for you.
and again, the canopy has a relief to it, has a pattern on the canvas. You guys were okay with that, but you want to see a color sample of the canopy?
Windows, yeah, awning.
I'm sorry, windows.
Building canopies, yeah.
What do you have with you as far as the colors?
I brought with, I have a,
Here's the canopies,
I
right?
borrowed these, so that's why when I come back, I can bring you a board. This, for example, is bronze metal.
Right, right.
This is
Should have yelled at me earlier.
the color of like the top of the store and the canopy
Okay.
of the doors.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's they call it Regal Red powder coated.
Mm-hmm.
This is just it's kind of small, but this is just a sample of the material that is used over the windows. It's
For the canopy?
Can you put it next to the, there you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this
Can you
this
see-
is
can you
this
see
is
that?
different material here, but I can bring a larger piece. This is the top of the store, and we call this a Mapes canopy over the door. And I'll have to bring you this. I'll have to bring you.
Yeah,
Of that.
This would be very similar.
To that.
Okay. Yeah, see?
Ask and you shall receive.
I've been told I'm supposed to be speaking to the mic. So, okay. Talked about, what did I call it? Window awnings. Okay, they have some signage on the doors. There's signage in the windows.
The umbrellas are going to be a darker green.
Darker green. They have metal fencing around the ice machines. No comment. They were okay with the metal.
Metal, right?
I think it's kind of a black that's on there too.
Well, yeah, wrought iron, whatever.
They have the pylons, lights, which I think are attractive.
Yeah, they're very nice.
And then, sorry, going on the checklist there. So it sounds like we've covered all the elements. Standing seam roof for the tower structure. The access door, I'm talking about page A9. They have
Crown molding on that tower, right?
Yep.
Crown molding.
Okay.
Access doors brown.
Okay. It's just going to be a metal door.
Yeah.
You'll have okay. They have the lighting. They have some of the scone lighting that you see on the sides. It's very much like the Chick-fil-A that we were looking at before. Okay. So I guess the next question is, any more commentary on the canopy? They're doing the bronze and brick water table. You've asked for them to come back, I guess, with a sample of the canopy material. It's squared off in this proposal. ARBs, go ahead.
One question I do have, though, if we end up going and pulling the silver from the sign out front, the picture we got here has the balusters and everything in silver. I'm assuming
Bollards,
we want
the
to go all
bollards.
the way bronze with all this stuff, or are we going to?
I just think the signage is significant because it's on the corner. of the
Right.
gateway.
So are we going to try to keep?
The bollards
The bollards or
tie into the pumps and everything, so
Okay,
it's
yeah,
not like
well,
they're going to.
that's good then.
Otherwise, it's going to be too dark in there.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
Get some
no,
type of
no, I
comment on
understand.
Also on the, I'm sorry, Alan, did you have
Yeah,
a?
no, it doesn't.
No, I was just looking at the rendering too. They did have that picture is accurate. It's a good point.
Which
The
picture?
picture where he mentioned that
The
the
pump.
bollards are
Right.
the same color as the
This one?
yeah.
As the pump.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
So the couple other things to look at on the canopy thing. So come back with a canopy. The sheets logo is going to be backlit, but the awning will not. They do have some signage on the pumps. It's more or less reflective of what they have out there today. They have the. I'm sorry.
I was just asking.
Yeah, they have dispenser logos. Basically, I suggested to them that they create what's out there today. They have the diesel signs. Those signs will be backlit, I believe.
The auto diesel, those are the price.
They're flags? Okay.
They're flags.
Okay.
Yeah.
So other than that, signage is okay. They're coming back to you with the awning materials. Everything else good to go? Okay. Sorry to be so methodical about it, but
No, make sure we get all our.
I'm doing it to their benefit, so, as well. Okay, and then we've talked about already the pylon sign on the corner, given that direction. The dumpster enclosure, it's interesting, it doesn't really represent it here, but the way it's designed on the
He
site.
gave us a picture.
Gotcha.
It's
So-
also going to be kind of in the back of the building, though, isn't it? The location of it.
Yeah, there's a site plan in the,
Backs up to Cal.
Yeah,
correct.
so then where they could bring a truck in there.
Actually, they do show it on the plan view right here. What's nice about this is that folks that want to go in and employees that want to use it, they go into this little alcove and can access it. They don't have to keep opening the doors all the
Right,
time. So
right.
that's more efficient design. That will be taking care of the trash. They have the oil, cooking oil thing. All that will be enclosed within the canopy. So
Okay, so if this is the store, Here's the awning.
Right.
Where's the dumpsters?
Did you see the site plan?
Oh, here it is. There it is. Screen dumpster.
I know that was in previous decisions, we had left out, I think when we did the ice rink, we had left out the discussion of the trash enclosure. So,
We were just trying to find it on the site plan.
okay. So, just to sum up,
So where's this?
I'm sorry,
I'm just curious, now that I'm looking at the plan.
you're looking at the site plan?
Yeah.
What tab is that on? I'm sorry, I'm all over the place.
They not put legends on site plans, like on surveys and,
First.
There is, there'll be a more detailed plan that comes through.
it's like,
This was more for context.
this is what I do at work, so I was looking for the legend, I'm like, what is that? There's no legend.
You know,
I'm just curious what this
the
was.
only difference in the site plan we're still trying is the actual underground fill tanks may be along Route 15 where it says 5 spaces.
Right,
They may be putting it over there.
just depends on how it,
I just found that out today. They might eliminate those spaces and put the fuel tank there.
but
So
you have
fuel-
extra spaces, so,
Pardon me?
I mean, there's plenty of parking.
Yeah,
so-
There's
and
extra spaces.
that's kind of where the truck parks today to fill, and I think it's more a little out of the way.
And
Yeah.
what's the height of the light poles off, do you remember off the top of your head?
Let me see.
No worries, don't worry about it. So I'm just thinking that there's, in the I-1 district, the height of the light meets special use permit. That's something we can talk about offline, but
Okay.
with this plan, they would be doing the,
It's incredibly tall for the I-1.
It's pretty high.
Yeah, it's really tall.
Well, this is underground
but
fuel.
more importantly, is they're going to do the acorn lighting to match the streetscape. They've agreed to do that. And then the internal lighting will be the black poles, right? The internal lights will be the black poles with the flat
yeah.
LEDs. You may have seen it in the Food Line parking lot. Very much de minimis fixture that they have up there now.
They've got a picture of that in.
What's nice about the canopy having the recessed lights is it really reduces the glare. It really focuses the light that's there. So if I heard you correctly, what you'd like to come back with, revised pylon sign, sample of the canopy,
Just a
sample of the,
board.
do you need another sample of the awning, other than they showed you one already?
He said he
The
was gonna
window
make us a
awning?
board.
Okay, what's that?
He
He said he was going to make us a board.
Okay, and any other,
Oh, what about the umbrella color? Still worried about that.
That
What's the little neon greens?
Well, no, we already we changed that in the. I think the
In
discussion
an
there
area that
was.
says it's a darker.
I think the discussion there was. I think this is your
Yes,
color.
yes.
I mean, there was. I don't know if we ever picked the green, but is there a green? Because I believe I want to go back and double check that. I think they can be. I think they're painted in a different fashion, so I think they could almost. Paint
So they're
this.
not canvas, they are
They're metal.
metal.
Yeah,
Okay.
the umbrella is metal too. Has holes in it, so it doesn't really keep you dry. It just looks
It's an
pretty.
illusion.
It's an illusion,
Keeps us some sun off.
right? So, I guess we probably would need to either pick a green, or I can go back and recommend a dark green.
do you happen to have a vendor sheet for the
I-
canopies? There's like a vendor sheet for the canopies that you guys order, like a spec sheet or anything?
Canopy, which
The umbrellas, you mean?
I'm sorry.
yeah, I'll
The
I'll
rubber
bring-
grommet thing, do you have a color for the,
I'll bring back like whatever.
that would be probably the easiest thing, if there's like a vendor sheet and just attach it to the,
All right,
what you call it?
all right.
Okay,
That was pretty.
thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Marcella.
so we have a motion on the floor. I should withdraw that motion because we're not going to approve this thing tonight.
I would just, with their acceptance, that you would,
Recommended defer till next submission, or?
Jay, what's typically the,
No.
well, my terminology is all shot. So what it says is the ordinance, they have to make a decision within 14 days. I guess, but the applicant has the ability to extend that period.
Drawing it would be better.
So,
So, and what are you proposing, your next meeting?
at the next meeting, you come back with those materials and then make the final decision. So,
So we would consent to the extension to your next meeting.
yes, we're looking for an extension to extend the,
Till December.
Okay, so I make a
extend,
motion to table, and we don't have a zoning permit number. Yeah, we got to get a number. But I make a motion to table until our next meeting.
December meeting.
December, yeah. Well,
Because you guys want to come back in
when is
December,
our
right?
December meeting? December 17th, okay.
I second that.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Do we need any discussion? I think we're good to vote on this, right? Okay, let's vote.
Aye.
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 Any nays? Any abstentions? Okay, we're good.
That wasn't too painful.
No.
That was good.
No, thank you so much for
For the good packet.
For the information.
Everybody came tonight with great packets. All the information.
And thank you for listening a few years ago, because I was actually here a few years ago, and you truly did listen to everything I had to say and tried to incorporate it, so, and I want to say thank you for that.
We like sheep.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's a nice building. They're always introducing new product. We have some new ones coming out next year. So we're very happy with this building.
The point that I've told people that Sheets is going to come down, they're almost visceral over the. How long is the gas going to be closed? So it's.
It is.
Exactly.
It's all there is over here.
I don't want to drive to 21 to Wawa.
And I go past it on my way to work. So.
It is our hometown gas station.
We're starting to drag this out, so we got to get
done?
moving on our agenda. We got town
We're not done.
council update. It's the next agenda item.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just have to say, I'd like to say welcome to Jim.
Did you swear him in? Was he supposed to be sworn
I
in
did not
tonight?
swear him in. No one,
Is that what Dave's here for?
He should have been sworn in before the meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did anybody swear him in?
I don't know how
Those
to,
votes aren't good.
we still did not have any that,
Yeah, nothing that required
nothing
any
that would
count.
require to recount.
But we need him sworn in. I don't know if you want to do it or Dave wants
David
to do
can
it
do
since
it.
he's here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a formality, but it needs to be done.
I understand.
Don't
Yeah,
vote
well-
on anything else.
We need a sheet to swear him in by, but
No problem.
Just swear him in.
I guess we'll have to figure out whether or not we got to take his vote off the decisions. But
Oh, yeah,
and
it's
even
not-
so, there
it's
is
not
nothing
valid.
that would have
Yeah.
changed any of the votes, any
Yeah.
decisions.
thank you for your honorary status this evening. Very good input.
All right.
I'm surprised to see he was on the BZA, so he came to us from the BZA.
So, I want to say that it's a perfect opportunity that, the town council had, we had a retreat, where we spent 2 days, 2 nights, discussing vision for the town, how to go forward, things that might happen. One of them is that we were pretty adamant about, being able to have some training provided for all town council, for all the boards, in the town. So, the town manager, Brian Henshaw, we're looking into finding someone to do some training for the ARB here locally, so that, sometimes stepping in is tough, trying to figure out where you're going and, exactly where you kind of stand in the whole big picture. So that's something that's going to be coming up on the agenda at some point. So Brian's looking into that, and we're trying to get some dates together. The other thing is, I personally, and you may be bringing this up in your business, but I personally would like to see the ARB go forward in some kind of signage to
Yeah.
the town council.
That's been on the agenda.
Yeah, I know.
I
I'm
just haven't gotten to it.
So, and I don't know if you need help. I'm more than willing to help or take over, or just, what I mean, if it's, do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to step in, because I don't know where you're at with the whole thing.
It's been on idle for a while, so I think we'll have to do some initialization of the old
Okay.
legwork.
Okay.
But we got a good contact with the Prince William County
Okay.
sign manufacturer, which we get them at our best rate. And he'll
Okay.
put the package pretty much fully together and install them for us. All we would have to do is,
Yeah, they just pulled up the old ones you guys have been working on for me. I
Yeah.
hate trying to do that.
all we'd have to do is do the permits for the VDOT permits for sign.
Okay, because here's my philosophy on it. With all the changes that are going on, with all the roads and all this and all that, if VDOT has to move our sign, then that's fine, let them move our sign. But it would be nice on our gateways for someone to know that they have entered Haymarket. So
Yeah.
I kind of would like to bump that up as a little bit of a priority if we have the funding of, we're looking into all of that. But
Yeah, and the way things have changed, I almost, when I've intended on continuing this for about the last 3 months, but I almost decided to just do this sign and put it everywhere where we have a Haymarket, the green Haymarket city limits sign.
Yeah.
And just slapping it and just leaving it that. 'Cause,
Well,
now that
we
we've
do it
got
with
new
the new-
construction
the new
going,
logo,
because
right.
the flyover's not going to be there, everything's changing again. So
But VDOT can move our signs.
Yeah.
It's not that, I mean, they can move our signs if they're going to move them. So I feel like part of Haymarket is we need to brand ourselves. We need to let people know they've entered into, there's so much happening now in Haymarket. I just.
We
so-
used to actually have the gateway signs, but
Yeah, but
one
we
was
got
hit by a
rid of
car, one was hit by but basically the signs that you see in front of the museum were at the
Right, the logo
gateways.
has changed, and I have no problem, but I mean.
And one's in
I have no
Fred's
problem
garage.
also helping with that for you, but I'd like to see us kind
Start
of
getting it moved forward.
get it moved forward maybe and take it up to the council while we.
So that's why I put that task list together, so you
I'm
have this
sorry, like I
weight
said,
on
I
your
might have
back,
bumped up
the weight
on
on
that.
the back, so that you at least try to get something done.
So, other than that, it just was good stuff that came out of the retreat. So, a lot of that information will be coming down the pipe, but I think that was it. I think that was it.
Any questions for Pam from any of the members?
Oh, how's it going with the power lines? Is there any update on
The
that?
power lines, that's planning commission stuff still right now.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and do my thing.
Hold on.
Are you done?
Well,
Did I
I
make sure we're
did,
done?
I
That's
did
the
want to
next
say
agenda
that,
item.
that Dominion did, we are no longer the preferred route. We are a route out of many now, as opposed to the preferred route.
Still makes me nervous.
However, we have been removed as being the preferred route, which is at least one step. So, that much we do know.
The consensus will be the underground route when it finally gets fully vetted. You know that's what it's got.
And you know, I did bring up at the last one, I went back and looked through that, as the ARB, we probably should come forward with some kind of statement, at least, to go ahead and add to the packet that's going to go forward.
Well, the one that does affect the ARB is going to be the dual stack power lines that they're going to run down here.
But I don't think we have a choice about that.
No, we don't. We have zero.
Right.
We, the ARB, have.
Well, I don't think we as a town can say anything.
I think
Well, no, we as the town do have input, but we don't. We can't tell them what to do with the double stack poles. But and the ARB doesn't have any ability to do that anyway. But if we want to make as a town a unified from the planning commission, from the ARB, that's certainly
Well,
doable.
I would like to clarify that the ARB is a separate governing force. We on our own make our own policies and decisions. It is separate from the council and from the PC. So we can come forward and make our own statement. It does not have to be packaged, although it might as well be since we're going forward as unified bodies of government.
Ralph, were you suggesting it would be a single letter from the town would be signed
And
by the
that's
town
fine.
council, planning
And that's
commission, ARB?
fine.
Okay.
But I just wanted to clarify that we are our own
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly
entity.
appropriate for you to comment whether or not you have any standing with regards to the power lines. Unfortunately,
Right.
it seems like no one knows.
Yeah, the state
No one knows.
corporation.
Right, right.
So,
But I'm just
The
saying,
town
That's
does
between
have
the state
standing.
and
The ARB does not have standing. That's so.
I guess I'd have to find clarification on that.
We would be just like any citizen making a comment. We can make all the comment
No.
we want to.
But,
I don't think it's within, we could certainly commentate on what the
Right.
visual impact would be.
right,
But they're, much like they're not required to go before the town to get approval.
right.
We would be was it a witness? If we wanted to be a witness
It
to
would be
the
just like
State
any other-
Corporation
Right.
Commission.
Yeah,
So
it would be
Right.
like any other private citizen.
I think what your point is saying that, when you make command decisions, you're making it, the planning commission makes recommendations to the council acts.
Right.
In this case, you make, you review and you make decisions on
Right.
those things. But anyway. So,
That was all. That was all.
Okay. So we done with the town committee?
Town council.
Does anyone have a
Council
question?
update? Any questions? Okay, we'll move on to planning commission update.
So there is a final recommendation that we're working on. We met with the special meeting, all that kind of good stuff. So we will be making
Talking about the power lines.
The power lines, yeah. And that's really all we've been doing. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on, but we've been sucked down into the power lines pretty much 100%. So we're gonna make that final presentation. I guess then the board would vote on it and, make a resolution. And then that would go before the State Corporation Commission. But that's pretty much,
And what's it trending towards? What's the recommendation going to be from the Planning Commission?
the recommendation is the underground line.
Along 66?
North side of 66, right?
Yeah, the north side of 66, because they actually put it on both sides of 66, but putting it on the south side actually goes through 8 of the newly.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's a bit of an issue.
I'd be upset if I just built a new house and
Just bought the new house. and,
Forget
yeah,
about
get
it.
plowed under.
There's going to be a sound wall. Forget about it.
But there's still stuff going on with John Marshall Commons and the traffic circle and all that kind of nonsense. But the power lines are the big one. So,
I have a couple updates, if I can be opportunistic.
please.
I'm sorry, Ralph, are you?
yeah.
Sorry to be so cheeky tonight. That's exhausted. Today, the public facilities, I'm sorry to piggyback on yours. So the town hired a consultant to master plan the Hariver properties. There's a kickoff meetings of sorts today. There's going to be a working group, I believe. There's going to be some meetings to talk about it. But we passed along to the consultant today the excerpts from the town plan that speak to how the Hariver properties were intended to be used and things like that. So it's planned business, planned public use. We did also do the contract on the master plan for this site. They've done RDA's done some preliminary engineering on that, and they're basically taking elements from the 3 master plan options. You remember with the different parking arrangements. Once that's submitted, I'll be bringing that to you to look at the different materials and plantings and things that they're doing there. We also talked about earlier, we're doing a sign study. We did a parking ordinance that was finished. Now they've moved on to the sign study, and we'll go from there. I did get the site plan in for. I'm sorry.
Do you know when that's going to, the sign ordinance, when that might be complete?
I think they're going to start doing their stakeholder meetings either December or January.
Okay.
There was a business meeting or local business meeting that the mayor hosted. It was yesterday, and that was a big topic that was brought up for discussion. Was the signage. Did finally get in the Payne Lane project across the street, the site plan to take the buildings down. Unfortunately, that plan took out the house on the corner that we had talked about incorporating into the plan. I'll be responding to comments. They will have to come to you for a demolition permit for those structures. So before the site plan can get approved, they'll have to come to you and get that done.
Oh, okay,
So,
thank you.
but that comes in. There's some elements that are missing. That Corporation House was missing. They're not providing sidewalks on Payne Lane. They had a lot of the brick alleyways between the buildings, if you remember. That would be some open spaces. Those have been removed from the plan. So I'll have to get some explanations to them as to why they changed that up. So that's pretty much it. You already know about Winterham. We did get a rezoning in for the fairgrounds property. They want to rezone the back half of the property to R2 to allow 100 and some odd townhomes. We are involved. We are using. What's that?
The tough intersection already. You had another 100 and something houses.
Well, I think just they've submitted the request. It's not. It shouldn't imply that it's going to be approved. They've submitted the request. We're going to do transportation analysis. I'm sending it to the county to do a school assessment. We're utilizing their transportation staff at the county to evaluate their traffic impact analysis. There's some other studies. What's that?
Analysis that said that traffic on Route 55 had decreased in the last 20 years.
That was a consultant's assessment. That wasn't necessarily the county's study. There's a roundabout proposed. So anyway, a lot of things happening in a short period of time, but it should be some good stuff.
Fix everything.
So
you're going to have all the residential down there, right outside of the town. You're going to have more
Roundabout will slow
residential.
down traffic into town, though, down there.
No, the cars are going to do that. You put a 4-lane highway through here, and you're still going to have 120 units down there,
My
300
opinion
units
is
over there.
that a roundabout will
You're
slow
sandwiched.
traffic.
No, I agree with you.
That's, anyways, that's.
I think there's value in doing it. Yeah, I think with the townhouses, I mean, it's worth perhaps looking at, but hopefully they would walk, at least a percentage of them.
To where?
This is the guy that drove from his house to here tonight, but
Too cold out there not to.
but anyway, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay.
We'll consider that new business.
Anything for you? Yeah, we'll consider that. Okay, just want to make sure that you're done.
I'm done,
You know,
yeah,
we'll
no.
consider that new
I defer to
business.
him.
Okay, no questions for Ralph, right? Okay. We'll consider what you did new business, Marchand. And we'll move on to old business. Old business, the only thing on my task list, of course, is the sounds, which are the signs, which haven't been touched in over 3 months. I guess I'll try and coordinate something with you, and we can start to move that forward.
You need to swear him in.
What's that?
He needs to be sworn in.
We need to
so-
swear in.
And, okay, we'll
Did we
go
find
from
any
old
paperwork
business
for
to
that?
swearing you in.
Well, that's if we have, well, I don't, it did make a whole lot of difference. So you can actually vote for the adjournment.
Yeah. You'll vote for something tonight.
You can actually make one official vote.
Woohoo. Excellent.
Yes.
You do have to stand up. So.
Actually, do you want to make a motion? To adjourn.
I would like the motion to adjourn.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
Okay.